All right. Good day, everybody. Hope everyone is doing good, and welcome to this week's segment of our market breakdowns. So without wasting any time, I'm going to start by looking at GBPAUD. And then the first thing you can notice is that we're in an uptrend. So the market broke this high over here, created a new high, and even before breaking this high over here, it created a new high, a low, and a higher low, right? So that's how you confirm your uptrend. Now, we are interested in the recent price action. So right here, because this is our swing high, this is an area of liquidity, right? And then if you look towards your left, there is no real imbalance. And so I'll just keep a lookout for price going all the way here. So this is where I think our final take profit should be. And then in terms of supply and demand areas, there isn't any good supply area, right? Now, if we look on to this recent price action over here, the only demand zone that I can see right now is this one over here. All right, what else am I seeing? We're in an uptrend. We're now currently at buy stop liquidity, right? And that's all I see. When it comes to recent price action, there is no imbalance unless we're talking about this small piece over here, right? So the market created this demand zone over here, and then we got a consolidation away from that demand zone, but then price didn't go all the way down. So because this area over here has resulted in a break of structure, I will note it as a potential area of demand. So it's not a good area. So let's go to lower time frames to see what's going on here. Right. So on the daily, we have this weekly area of liquidity that you can see that the market has taken liquidity with this wick over here. So one possible scenario is that the market might reverse to the downside, right? Now, what we are seeing on the downside is that we had a break of structure here. We had that break of structure there, and then we have this swing low here. So this swing low to me is a potential area of liquidity. So we know that with a break of structure, the market has incentive to come back and retest an order block. Because this area is not listed within a high time frame structure, that is the weekly, it's not really a high probability area. The next problem or the next potential area of demand will be this area over here. So essentially what I'm saying is that the market has to, maybe on a Monday, print an indecision candlestick, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, print what you call a bearish momentum, tap into this, go to the upside, or if this area fails to hold, this will be my next area of potential demand, right? Because there's this liquidity from the swing low, right? Now, when we're looking in this demand zone, into the weekly demand zone, there is no good area of demand, because as you can see right here, there is efficiency. So these are not good areas to buy from, right? So that's what I see on GBPAUD, right? We know from the main trend that the trend is up. We know that the market has been breaking structures, just that currently we're at an area of liquidity, and all we need right now is confirmation from the market in order for us to see whether or not price will be continuing with the upward momentum or price is going to be reversing. But so far, there hasn't been any signal from the market that price will be dropping to the downside. And even if it's dropping to the downside, I don't see it dropping over a long period of time, right? So these are my sentiments on GBPAUD. Let's move on to another pair. Now we are on GBPCHF, and this is actually an update because we looked at it a couple of months ago. But anyways, if you haven't watched that breakdown, I'll give you a quick update. So basically, I've identified this uptrend over here. We're currently in an uptrend because the market has been creating new highs, higher highs, right, and higher lows, right? we have this recent low over here. Let me start by identifying my areas of supply and demand. We have this area of supply over here, and then we have this area of demand here. So currently, when you look at these two opposing zones, demand is in control. Let me write this down. That's point number one, demand is in control. Point number two, we're in an uptrend. And then point number three, we're in the buyer's territory. If we look at this recent price action, we had this potential area of supply, right? But then there's two problems with it. Problem number one, it hasn't resulted in any break of structure, right? Point number two, we already have a lot of retests on that area. So this is the first retest, the second retest, and price is spending too much time on this area. Now, if you follow my Telegram group, you realize that this is one of the reasons why we lost the trade on EURUSD, the first trade, right? It's because on the area that we were supposed to sell from, the area that we were supposed to buy from, sorry, price spent way too much time on that area to such a point that the orders on that area got absorbed. So I sent in another analysis on the Telegram group, and then we were able to take the counter trend. So similar thing that happened on USDCHF in EURUSD, right, is happening right here. And if you follow me on Telegram, you'll know that we made profit from that breakout. So this is what I think is happening on GBPCHF right now. We were in this uptrend, and even if you see this movement to the downside, it's corrective in nature, right? So that's why I think we're going to get a continuation to the upside. For now, I'm looking at this old swing as a potential area of liquidity and also a potential profit target. But then my supply is here. My other supply is here. So we'll talk about that supply when the market eventually gets to that point. But for now, we are interested in buy opportunities. Let's go to lower time frames to get confirmation patterns. Now, if you go to the lower time frame, you can obviously see that there is a change of sentiment that's happening, right, with this inverted head and shoulder. Another thing that you can see is that the market broke through the swing, previous swing high, creating a new high here, and then creating a new low here, right? So this is a reaction from this demand zone over here, although it's not an ideal level, right? So for now, there isn't any opposing zone except for this one over here. This was a potential area of supply, but you can see right here that price is eventually breaking through it. So because price is breaking through it, I'm actually interested in what price will do here. And this will dictate how I enter into this trade, right? And then on our potential area of liquidity, you can see that there's a potential supply area, but we won't sell from that supply area. Why? Because it's not nested within the higher time frame, so making it a low probability zone or a zone with low probabilities. Now let's go to the 4 hour. All right, on the 4 hour, you can see that price is fighting to break through this area. And because the market is breaking through the structure, I'll use this area over here. So this was a swing low, and then the market came, took liquidity, and then went to the upside. So I'll use this as a breaker block, right? So what I'm essentially saying is that I expect the market to break through this area during the week, but we have to wait for the market to actually break through it. And then I'm going to wait for a breakout from that area, and then I'm going to take profits at that next area of supply. So on the 4 hour, there is no imbalance because all the strong candlesticks have their orders filled. So that's why if this fails, I'm not going to be selling, or I'm not going to be placing any buy orders. If a sell opportunity presents itself, I'll let you guys know in the Telegram group, but I don't see another potential area that I can buy from. But anyways, these are my sentiments on GBPCHF. Let's move to another pair. Okay, so now we are on USDCAD, USDCAD. And when a consolidation price is stuck in between this 2 points over here, this being a low and this being a high. So from this, we already know that we're in a bias territory, meaning that any sell opportunity that we're going to see right here is going to be a low probability trade, right? We're in a bias territory, in a consolidation. This means equal amounts of buyers and sellers, and we see that there is a lot of bullish pressure, especially if you look at this price action over here. So what had happened was the market was falling, right? And then there was this break of structure here. Now, with the break of structure, obviously we expect a return to an order block. And I assume that this was supposed to be the order block that the market's returning to. Now, as you can see right here, there's congested price action on that so-called area of supply, right? Meaning that orders are slowly coming in to absorb all of the orders that are resting here. So apart from that, there isn't any other area that you can literally say is an opposing supply. This is why I feel like there's a lot of buy pressure. I could be wrong, but from the way I'm seeing it, I see a lot of buy pressure. Let's go to the weekly. So as you can see over here, there is a change of sentiment, right? In a sense that price came here, right? From this, we now have new higher lows, and we've already taken liquidity from this high over here. So what I'm only waiting for, or the thing that I'm waiting for, is a strong breakout from this high, right? That will serve as confirmation. That will serve as confirmation that price is indeed going to the upside, right? For now, an opposing area of potential supply is this one over here. For me, I want to see price breaking through this area of supply before I can fully buy into this over the next couple of months. For now, I'm just going to be using that as a profit target, right? And then you have this opposing demand, right? Which is not a good demand zone because of this price action over here and also this departure over here. So it's just a mess. It's just a mess. There is no strong imbalances. So I'm relying on the two. So this is what I'm seeing right now. Price approaching demand. Price approaching supply. And so far, demand opportunities are not high probability. Why? Because of the supply and demand curve. We are closer to the seller's territory than we are to the buyer's territory, although demand is in control. This means for me to buy, this means for me to buy into this USDCAD, I'm expecting, or I expect at least a young pullback into an area of demand, right? I'm expecting price to, or the market to reprice a bit, right? Going a bit lower, fetching orders, and then going to the upside. In the long run, I'm going to be buying USDCAD. We also have this opposing supply over here, right? So you see the thing with areas of supply and demand, just because they've been used up or they don't look ideal doesn't necessarily mean that we discard them, right? So a zone is valid for as long as the market hasn't broken through it. It's when the market breaks through a zone that we can say that a zone is invalid, right? So for a zone, for supply zone like this, it's valid because it's been confirmed, right? But the reason why we're not trading from it is because it's not ideal. According to our knowledge, it's been used up. It's on the right, it's on the wrong side of the market. So if we really want to take a trade, we need to wait for the market to break through it. You get what I mean? So that's what I'm seeing on USDCAD. Potential area, another area of potential demand. This right here won't form a good demand zone because of the wicks. So other than that, there isn't any other good area of demand. Let's move on to USDZAR. So this is what you call an update on USDZAR. So as you can see right here, the market has reacted from this demand zone over here. Right, so it grabbed liquidity over here, grabbed liquidity here, went into this order block and moved to the upside to such an extent that it's even broken through this area of supply. So it's breaking through this area of supply. Grab liquidity here. What I'm drawing right here is an area of liquidity. So it's gonna eventually break through this and go to the upside. So right now, I wanna find out that where is it located on higher time frames? Those are the first thing that I'm interested in. Second thing is, what pattern can we see, or what setup can we see on the lower time frame? So let's start at the week. So this is the zone that it's reacting from. And I think I explained in the previous videos why I'm not really fond of the zone over here, right? The fact that it hasn't resulted in a break of structure, the fact that it has a weak departure or a weak arrival to it, right? But we can also see that this movement is corrective in nature. So what I think will happen is that we're going to get a bullish push or a bullish momentum on USDZAR. And right now, we're just in a corrective. In the long run, I think this area of supply will be taken out. And so for now, it will be my first take profit. And then if it does get broken through, this will be my next profit target. As you can see right here, we're respecting lows and breaking highs. So we're in an uptrend, right? Let me skip to the 4 hour. Right. So now we're on the 4 hour. We know that we are bullish. Just want to remove this. The liquidity grab here is much more clear for the break of structure. Now we're looking for an order block. And the next best one that I can find or that I can see is this one over here. I think the market will tap into that order block and give us a strong push. Another area where we can get a potential order block or potential order is this one over here. So on each zone, we're going to be using limit orders and proper risk management so that even if the market hits our stop loss, we don't lose a great deal of our capital, right? Other than that, the next zone that I should be looking at is this one over here. Will the market go the way down? I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, this is what I'm interested in. So we've been breaking highs, right? Found another block here, moved up, broke this, and then had a short reversal, moved to the upside. So last week, or was it the week before, I was expecting the market to react off this area. But as you can see, the market has broken through it. So this is why I'm having a change of sentiment. But yeah, these are my thoughts on USDZAR. Let's move on to another pair. The final pair of the week will be AUD/USD. So first things first, we see that we're in a long-term down trend. So for us to actually confirm a new trend, we have to break through this high, right? So we haven't broken through it. Instead, what we found was supply and the market reacting off that supply and respecting it. That's number one. Number two is that if you zoom in, this was supposed to be an opposing demand zone, which eventually got broken through because of this congested price action. So number one, supply is in control. Number two, now this swing low over here may have been a potential area of liquidity. If you look towards your left, your immediate left, the only opposing zone is this one over here. So I'm expecting the market to drop until this level. And what it does after it drops to this level is entirely up to the market. I don't know, right? Either it will go up or the market will break through it. I don't know. For now, this is what I'm seeing on AUD/USD. Let's move on to the weekly, right? So these are areas of supply as clearly identified. Now we see that as the market was going into that supply, we had this failure swing and a break of structure, right? The market creating that order block and also the market respecting that order block. So what we also had was liquidity grab, market going into that order block, forming a new swing high, right? A lower high, and then going down, right? Now we've broken the structure over here, and then we went back, and now we are continuing to the downside. This was an area of liquidity because we had equal highs here. So, okay, we are well aware of where we are in the market, where we are in the trend. right? This is another potential area of supply. And then the next best area of demand, or the next best opposing area of demand, is the one right here. So this imbalance over here, or the source of imbalance, for it to be acknowledged or confirmed as a potential area of demand, this imbalance here has to break through this. So if we get a breakdown, even if it's with one candlestick, then that's when we can acknowledge this as an area of supply, right? So as we go to the daily, there's a few areas of interest where I'm going to be taking the sell, since that's the bias on higher time frame. First one is obviously this one. The problem with it is that it's already been tested 3 times. We have this first retest, second retest, and third retest. Now, because we can't look for a zone there, it then means that we need to look for a level on top of a level. We have this break of structure over here, right? And after that market, or after that zone was broken through, the market formed an imbalance here. So what I really need to see is a candlestick consolidating away from that zone, and that candlestick should not be a doji. And if that goes accordingly, or if that goes well, it will find me ready, because I'm placing a limit order here. And take profit on my next zone. So yes, this is all I have for this week. Not a lot of opportunities. Mostly going to be monitoring the old setups that I shared in the last 2 weeks. Make sure that if you haven't subscribed to my Telegram channel, you join it, right, to get updates. And if you want signals with parameters, my contact details are available on Telegram. Make sure to sign up with our VIP signal group. And for now, this is all I have for you guys. Hope you guys found it valuable, and I'll see you guys in the next video coming this Thursday. For now, peace.